of those who are living it.
Edward Leigh.
Those who favour assisted dying are going to get their wish. There will be a debate on the floor of the House of Commons, and if there's one more debate, there'll be other debates. They'll go on for the years, and the majorities against assisted dying will get less and less, because, of course, it's true that we're up against it. Overwhelmingly, the economics are against us. We have a vast, ever-growing population. It is about economics. We have a vast, ever-growing population of people who are very frail, very elderly, who are a burden on society, and they know they are a burden on society. And therefore, I predict that sooner or later, the House of Commons will debate this, and sadly, I'm sure they will pass it into legislation, pass a law, as so many other countries have done. This isn't a debate about assisted dying. We all want to help people to die peacefully and painlessly. This is a debate about assisted suicide, about helping people to kill themselves. Well, I could do this.
I'd rather you didn't, actually.
The Honourable Gentleman is making the point that this is about suicide. I wonder if the Honourable Gentleman has a family member, as I have, who took their own life through suicide, and whether he understands the difference that we're talking about today.
Yes, well, I haven't had a family member, but of course we've all encountered friends and relatives who have been under intolerable pressure, and we've all quoted examples, and I can quote examples as well. You see, I think simply take a very pro-life point of view, and it's not from my religious conviction or my belief that everybody is beautiful and wonderful, however small, however tiny in the womb, however old, however frail, however much of a burden, whether they're a convicted murderer or they're one of our military enemies. I take a pro-life view, and I think so much of the misery in the world in the last 100 years has been people who've been but casual about taking life. And so many of the arguments that we hear in favour of assisted dying are based on very appalling and horrible cases, extreme cases. So many arguments are what we heard when we had the initial debates on abortion. You know, there's fetal abnormality, there's rape, all the other things, and then we have abortion on demand, and now we're going to get death on demand. That's what it's all about. And all the pressure, particularly on the frail and the vulnerable, will be about this. Now, I want to make one theological point. I mean, a friend of mine died in the first months of COVID. He died in agony. He died in a part of the country where he was sent out of hospital. The medical profession was panicking. He wasn't given adequate palliative care. He died in agony, appalling. And therefore, we all are agreed that we're still not doing enough about palliative care. And we have to do much more. And we have to tell everybody and make this point that you do have a right to go into a hospice. And so many people are not given this right to go into a hospice and given the full benefit of modern medical technology to allow you to die peacefully and painlessly. And for the overwhelming majority of people, if they're given palliative care, that is an option that they can enjoy. Another friend of mine, I actually watched him die, my best friend, he was a former colleague in this house. He was dying of terminal cancer. I was sitting beside him. I could actually see the morphine pumping through his wrists. And he died peacefully and painlessly, but I have no doubt that it was the morphine that killed him. And theologically, morally, legally, there is nothing against a doctor helping me to die by pumping morphine into me, even though that is the immediate cause of my death. Well, people are shaking their head, but I've actually seen it happen. And is there anybody, is there anybody in this room who would blame a doctor who helped somebody to die who was in agony, even if the immediate cause of that death, they weren't trying to kill them, the doctor wasn't trying to kill them, they were trying to ease the pain. And in easing the pain, by delivering that amount of morphine, that might have hastened their demise. So let's be realistic about it. Let's try and take a pro-life view. And let's remember, and the point's been made again and again.
Order, 4,5 huis.